So the next one is the rubber processing technology or RPT. But before that, let us introduce what is RPT. So RPT introduction. It is similar to many production methods for plastics, but it is different from plastic industry, dominated by one product, which is the tires. Next is the technological breakthrough, the vulcanization or cross-linking to transform weak natural rubber into a stronger materials. Then the second one is the introduction of synthetic rubber such as styrene butadiene rubber or SBR. Next is the butadiene rubber, which is the BR, and the last one is the ethylene propylene diene rubber, which or also known as EPDM. Next is the RPT rubber processing and shaping. So there are two types of its processing and shaping, which is the production and the shaping of rubber into a finished goods. So what is production? Production, it is an agricultural crop or petroleum. So the shaping of second is the shaping of rubber into finished goods. So there are four parts in this process, which is the first is compounding, which is addition of sulfur for vulcanization. The second one is the mixing, such as it is additives such as carbon black or calcium or silica and other polymers. Then the third one is the shaping, which is the extrusion, calendering, coating, molding, and casting. And the last one is the vulcanization, which is a curing or cross-linking process developed by Goodyear. Next one is the RPT production of natural rubber. What is natural rubber? The natural rubber is the first is the rubber trees, which is known as Hevea brasiliensis, which is grown on a plantation in Southeast Asia or other part of the world. Next is the latex or a colloidal depression, which is 30%. Then of solid particles called polysupreme in water. So in here, the latex is collected with large tanks, which is diluted to 50% with additional water and coagulated by adding formic and acetic acids. So the last one is the coagulum. Now, soft solid slabs, it was squeezed through a series rulers to lose water. Next is the RPT production of natural rubber. So there are three process or three production of the natural rubber, which is first is the rib smoke sheet, or also known as in dark brown color. The sheet draped over the wooden frames and dried in smoke houses for several days, and after that it is folded into large bales. Then the second one is the air dried sheet, which is a better grade of rubber, can be attained by drying in hot air rather than smoke houses. And lastly is the pale crepe, which is a rubber in light tan, which is means it and even better grades involve two convolution steps and air drying. So the next one is the production of synthetic rubber, the RPT production of synthetic rubber. So the most synthetic rubbers are produced from the petroleum, as what I said earlier, by the polymerization techniques, and also it is unlike shaping polymers in the forms of fillets or liquids. Resin synthetic rubber starts in the form of large bales. So the second one is the rubber processing technology or RPT, shaping of rubber compounding. So in here, it means that the specific rubber is designed by vulcanization, or it's adding sulfur or fillers. So the second one is the fillers to enhance the rubber's mechanical properties, or reinforcing fillers, or to extend the rubber to reduce the cost, or also known as non-reinforcing fillers. Next is, in addition, it is to avoid the two-stage of mixing process. The first stage is the carbon black and the other non-vulcanizing additives, which is also known as master batch. So the second one is the, after some time of cooling, vulcanizing is agent are added. And also, there are many products require filament reinforcement to reduce insensibility but to retain the other desirable properties of rubbers. For example, the tires, the conveyor belts, and so next is the RPT, shaping and related processes extrusion. So it is also known as to screw extruders are generally used. Next is the shaping process and related processing calendaring, which is from feed stack to sheet stack. So, but before that, calendaring is a stack is passed through a series of gaps of decreasing size made by a stand of rotating rolls where final roll gap determines sheet thickness. Next, it is the roller die process. The roller die process, it is a combination of extrusion and calendaring for better quality production, which is from barrel. There are parts here in the screen that you can see is a barrel, screw, rulers, and products. And next is the shaping and related process, coating and impregnating fabrics with rubber. So in here, it is used in production automobile tires, conveyors belt, inflatable wraps, and waterproof coats, tents, and raincoats. So in here in the screen, it shows that the calendar rolls to feedback stack the fabric and to take up reel and a coated fabric. So the shaping and related processes, which is the molding. Molding, it is a products include shoes, soles, and heels, gasket and sails, suction cups, bottle stops, tires and foam and rubber parts. There are three parts. First is the compression of molding, which is the tire manufacture. Second is the transfer molding, and the last is the injection molding. So the curing or vulcanizing, it is accomplished in the mold in all three processes, this representing a department from the previous shaping methods of all which is used separate vulcanizing step is the building the carcass. So the carcass, it is a traditionally assembled using a machine known as building drum, which is a main element of cylindrical bore that rotates tire just before removal from the building drum but prior to the molding and curing. The molding and curing. So the first is, there are two types. First is the tire molding, which is an uncured tire is placed over expandable diaphragm. Next is the mold is closed and diaphragm is expanded to force uncured rubber against mold cavity, impressing thread pattern into a rubber. Mold and diaphragm are heated to cure the rubber. Next is the rubber belts, which it is widely used in conveyors and mechanical power transmission system. Next is the hose. There are two basic types of the hose. First is the plain hose extruded tubing, or second one is the reinforced tube, which is consists of three parts. First is the inner tube. It is extruded of a rubber compounded for the particular liquid that will flow through it. So the second one is the reinforcement layer, which is applied to the near tube as the fabric or spiraling, knitting, and breeding. So the last one is the outer layer, which is compound of environmental conditions and applied by extrusion. The next one is the footwear. Footwear, it is a rubber components in footwear includes soles, heels, rubber, overshoe, and certain upper parts. So the next one is the processing of thermoplastic elastomers. Process like thermoplastics but use elastomer. First is the shaping process, which is injection, molding, and extrusion. Next is the molded products, which is a shoe soles, athletic footwear, and automated components such as fender extensions and corner panels. And the last one is the extruded items, which is insulation, coating for electrical wires, tubing for mechanical application, conveyors, belts, sheets, and film stocks. Next is the product consideration, which is a rubber parts can be produced by compression molding in quantities of 1,000 or less. The mold is cost is relatively low. Another topic is the shaping process for plastic, or SPP. So in here, SPP is the properties the properties of polymer mills. So there are two types, the viscosity and the viscoelasticity, which is the first one is a neutron fluid and the second one is a swell ratio. So next is the extrusion. It is a shaping process of polymers, metal, and ceramics. Next is the die configuration and the defects. There are two types, the extruded shape and the defect, the production of sheet and film, which is in continuous and high production. Blow molding, which is uses air pressure to inflate plastics to make a wholly geometry inside at mold cavity, which is the two parts, the extrusion, blowing molding, and the injection of blow molding. So next is the rational blow molding, which is a gravity is used to achieve the hollow form inside a rotating mold. The thermoforming, which is a flat thermoplastic is heated and deformed into desirable shape, deforming, vacuum, and the pressure and mechanical. So next is the casting. It is a pouring liquid resin into a mold. So the next one is the polymer foam process, which is it is a composite polymer and a gas which consists air, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide. Next one is the design consideration. The general consideration, the extruded plastics, molded part. The first is the general consideration, which it is strength and stiffness, and the second one is extruded plastics, which is a wall thickness, and the third one is the mold part, economic production quantities. Thank you.